We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with John Harden. Weekdays from 11 to 1. It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Wolosha.
Tuesday morning, the Grizz have left the building. Talk about that in a second. No new Tigers in the building. Jason Munns will join us in the final segment. And a walk down memory lane coming your way momentarily. We have the author of the guy who wrote the book on Larry Finch, who wrote the book on the Memphis Red Sox, the old Negro Leagues, and we will talk with Keith Woods. And it's official now. We mentioned this a little bit earlier, like a couple of weeks ago. But Robert Miller, who's been on the staff for Joe Tomek for several years, he may have even gone back to Phil Cannon. Robert Miller has been named as the executive director of the FESJI, which means there are some very happy people at Southwind. I remember we had Jack Sammons on right after Joe Tomek left, and he was really hoping that Miller would get the job, and he was officially named that today. So congratulations to Robert Miller, and looking forward to working with him as the FedEx St. Jude Invitational gets closer and closer. And I think now there's been a little delay, but in the next month or so, we will know the new schedule, not for this year. This year we know when it'll be. It'll be the first series of the playoffs. But after that, everything is up for grabs. So it was exit day for the Grizzlies at FedEx Forum yesterday, and it's pretty clear the conversation with Zach Kleiman, the general manager, was about a third rebuild. And I thought he was masterful in being about as honest as he could, and he's really good at not saying anything and saying something. The thing that I appreciated the most probably was, look, he says, I'm basketball operations. I have nothing to do with leases. I have nothing to do with ownership and the city. That is being negotiated with them. But I am close enough to have some lens, term he used, some lens into what's going on. And I can tell you that there is every effort being made for us to be a winner in Memphis, meaning the Grizzlies, that he is pretty certain that they are working hard toward all of that with the building reno and obviously with control of Beale Street and parts of downtown. And I think almost everybody is willing to let them have their shot at doing that and making it better. I have no problem with that. If they can do it and it's on them and they get control, fine. If they make more money out of it, fine, as long as it's safer and people enjoy the experience. You certainly do not want to lose the one major league team you have. One of the things I thought was a little bit crazy was he was talking about, because he's asked about season ticket holders for next year. And so I'm going to quote here. I think it can be easy to lose that good perspective when a season is where it is. But there are so many positives that came from this group. I think they were really bought in on both ends of the floor. And we are playing a brand of basketball that is easy to identify with and get excited about. Really? The embarrassing tanking at the end, the last two games, really the last 40 games, when, Zach, you refused to get a big man. You just didn't want to get a big man because you realized literally halfway through the year this was not going to be your year. Ja was not going to come back, and you didn't want to win games. I'm sorry. If I were you, I would have deflected that in a different way. I would not have said, oh, we were fun to watch. We had buy-in on both sides. Really? Look at your last two games and how badly you lost. Using 6 guys at the second to last game and using 7 in the last game and losing by, I think, an average of 35 to 40 points. That's exciting. That's buy-in. Ooh. But on the other hand, because I can't let that one go by. I thought that was ridiculous. I do think he's got a plan. I hope his plan involves getting some better luck than he's had, because he's had incredibly poor fate with injuries. Maybe they have to look and see the way they train. Maybe this load management stuff doesn't really work. Maybe it's the pace of the game that is a real NBA problem and that they've got to address it. Maybe you need more quick changes like hockey. I'm not saying every 36, 60 seconds, but something maybe have to be looked at there. But you've got a plan. I hope you can execute it. And some of that's going to be the fate of the way the balls roll when the lottery takes place. I mean, you could have 3 picks in the top 32 and maybe 2 in the lottery if everything worked out well in what is going to be one of the great draft classes of all time. I think he needs to be more open with communication. Even yesterday he was evasive. I understand the position he's in. The stuff with Ja, he never answered, except that Ja's a pro. Really? I would like to see the organization as a whole become a little bit better about open communication, more honesty about health, just more honesty in general, and openness. And maybe once a year, instead of Zach Kleiman, Robert Pera come in and say something. If Robert Pera's got plans for downtown, that's part of the reason why he's holding it up. I'd love to hear it from Robert Pera, who I don't think has spoken to the public in the last 5 years. I don't know if he's been to a game. I know he was at a playoff game because he was trying to get in early, and security was questioning who he was. I heard it over a walkie-talkie. I go, "There's a guy named Mr. Pera here," and the guy goes, "That's Pera. That's the owner. Let him in." But that was the playoffs a couple of years ago. That's the last time I know he's been in the building. On Ja, I just wish he would say, "Look, Ja's being a pro about it. We're trying to be professional. It's pretty clear it hasn't worked here. We're moving him. We got to get it." I mean, the league knows this, so it's not going to put you in worse bargaining position. So I don't know why you cannot be open about that. And when you think about it, when it's all said and done, it's clear to me the guy deserves another chance. He was very fortunate in his first rebuild. He had all the right pieces there. This is another opportunity for him, and he deserves that chance. If you look at past history with small market teams, just look at Sam Presti at Oak City. This is his third rebuild. Look what he's gotten now, and he's doing it the way that Presti did it too. He's accumulating as many first-round draft choices in no better time than this year to get those to build upon. So I think he's got the plan. I hope he can execute the plan. I hope fate is with him, but I do think he's deserving of another opportunity. I just hope he'd be a little bit more open and honest and would talk to the media more than once or twice per year. The Tiger football team, and Charles Huff's an interesting guy, will be out at the spring game on Saturday, 3 o'clock at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. So Charles believes details matter, and that's what is the key to sustained success. So he has brought in the last couple of weeks, first Charlie Strong, who obviously all these folks that he brings in have a connection with Nick Saban. He learned from Saban. He does things the Saban style, the Saban way. And so he brought in Charlie Strong a couple of weeks ago, and apparently earlier this week he brought in Jimbo Fisher, former Florida State coach who won a national title there, and of course was at A&M and got ceremoniously dumped for $75 million. I think I would love to be dumped for $75 million. But I do think this guy so far, he hasn't won or lost a game, but everything he has done at this point is just on point. It is just terrific. And we'll know a little bit more when we see him firsthand on Saturday. Who's the one, who's the two at quarterback? That'll be interesting. Who's the one, the two at running back? That'll be interesting. He's got 3 really good running backs. So we shall see what the line kind of looks like. I mean, how can you really tell? This is really going to be a practice. It's not even a spring game from what we understand, but you do get a sense of it. obviously, fall practice is a lot more important, but it is kind of cool. And Tigers basketball, no news. Is that good news or bad news? We do know PJ gone. He's at A&M for, I've heard, up to $4 million. I don't know if that's true. Jordan Freisen, who I did think was coming, the kid from Overton who went to, I think he went to a Division II school to begin with and then was at Tennessee Chattanooga last year. He signed with Wichita State, which was, no pun intended, shocking to me. Does that mean Rowan Brabbaugh is still in effect? Are there any more high school recruits? We will get into that with Munzie later in the program. In between, we will talk with Ron Higgins. But as I sit in the Family Leisure studios and remind you, we got a chemical sale coming, but right now, it's the closing of the floor model sale. You can get big, deep discounts on floor models and in-stock hot tubs, on those swim spas, on the newest thing, the cold plunges. All you got to do is get to I-40 and Whidden Road. Ask about the chemicals, too. Maybe they'll give it to you now. It's the sale that's going on at the moment at Family Leisure. Talk to Billy. Talk to Lindsay. Tell them we sent you. There could be something in it for you. Just get to I-40 and Whidden Road and see the folks at Family Leisure. Keith Wood is an author who's already done a couple of books. He is a history teacher at Christian Brothers, but he wrote the book on Larry Finch several years ago. He wrote a book on the Memphis Red Sox of the Negro Leagues and joins us today because he has just put into print. It is, I guess, out for sale at the moment. A book on the showboats, not the showboats of last year, of the UFL, and then they were the year before that were the USFL. No, this goes back to 83 when they first got here, 84 and 85, the 2 years they played. Steve Earhart was the general manager, Billy Dunham, the owner, Pepper Rogers, the head coach. We had so many characters on that team. Coach Dickerson was the line coach, very colorful. You had great players, starting with Reggie White, but you had Walter Lewis to begin with, got beat out by Mike Kelly. You had Harry Sidney. You had Louis Sharp came in the middle of 1 year as an offensive lineman. I mean, there were big-time quality stars on this team. Keith, let's start with what made you decide to write this particular book? Good morning.
Morning, Dave. How you doing? And in fact, let me start this. It's Dave the Boat Woloshin. Appreciate you having me on this morning. Steve Earhart, obviously the general manager, said that if there was one person in Memphis I had to talk to and see, it was Dave the Boat Woloshin. So appreciate you. Most of your fans know you with Tiger Sports.
Right.
But before that, it was the Boats, right?
Well, you know who gave me that name, don't you?
Yeah, it was Steve Earhart, right?
No.
Got to go. Fill me in.
George Lapidus.
There it is.
George Lapidus started calling me Boat Woloshin when I got the gig. It kind of stuck. And then I wasn't sure that I really liked it, so I just tried to call him Chief Chickasaw because there was a time when George was the general manager of the Chicks. That never stuck. But Boat did stick. And when people come up to me and they call me Boat, I know from what generation they came from.
There you go.
And that to me will always be an enduring time. It was my first real taste of major league stuff. We flew on charters. There was Hollywood kind of characters that were there. It was well respected. This league was, and the league blew it. They could have been part of the NFL if they hadn't chosen Donald Trump to be their spokesperson. That's the truth.
It is.
That many people don't really understand, but that's just the fate of Memphis. So close several times to being an NFL team.
This goal trying to be major league, right? I think Dave, that's the story, right? You asked how I came up. I was at lunch at Christian Brothers. The lacrosse coach, Colin Welsh, comes up and he goes, "What's your next book, Wood?" And I went, I don't know. He goes, "I just read Football for a Buck by Jeff Pearlman." And so I started looking into it. Paul Reiths up in Wisconsin has done a great overall big picture of the USFL, covers everybody. But nobody had covered the showboats. And I wanted to get down and dive deep and figure out what was special about this team, right? And Memphis and all your talk with the Grizzlies, I love the last few minutes here just listening. The fear in Memphis right now really is that if the Grizzlies leave, are we major league? Well, what we're left with the Redbirds. We become minor league again. And Memphis, before basketball, before Finch, before, you get the Grizzlies, you're talking about a football town, right? Football was Memphis.
And they were really SEC because they played at Crump. Tennessee played at Crump. Ole Miss played at Crump. I mean,
absolutely. Right?
Now, when I got here in the 80s, that was going away. There might have been no games at Crump, but at least Ole Miss and Mississippi State were still playing games in Jackson.
Right.
So they weren't using their home fields for all their games, which was always really interesting to me. I came from the Big Ten. The Big Ten always used their home field.
And I think, when you talk about this, the 70s with the Grizzlies, the Southmen, right? Memphis was so close. And you have to, when you talk about, the first chapter talks about this desire to be in the NFL. And John Bassett comes down here and he brings the Grizzlies in the 70s. We signed Zonka, Kick, and Warfield.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, talk about good. And
that was the WFL, right?
The WFL, right? And Bassett explained it this way. He goes, I was in a league where I had the most money, and then the league collapsed in 75, right? So Memphis is out again. But then Bassett is in Tampa with the Bandits, right? And he sees an opportunity in 83, and Logan Young is boosting the city, looking for a USFL team in this new spring league. And it was Johnny Bassett who came in. He goes, I was in Memphis in the 70s. Memphis loves football. Memphis needs a club. And that's legitimately, there are a lot of folks in the USFL like, is Memphis really the place we need to be? And you got to give credit to Johnny Bassett for bringing the boats to Memphis.
Well, and then Logan Young was the original guy, but Bassett, I think, was the guy that strong-armed the league and made Logan Young take on Billy Donovan.
Absolutely, right? So heading into the first year that we're going to play in 84, we're in I guess you want to call it spring training.
Yeah.
And we're doing it in
It was
Memphis.
actually winter training.
Yeah, at Rhodes.
Well, the year, I guess maybe it was after that, they chained in Melbourne.
That was the second
Florida.
year.
Second year, because I was there in Melbourne.
Yeah, the 84 year, Memphis. It's 32 one day, 65 the next, and the club makes a decision to hold spring training at Rhodes, the old Southwestern College, right? And that's a heck of a story that's in there. But while that was taking place, Logan Young's money is running out, right? Like, it's not USFL, NFL money. And Johnny, like you said, just picks up the phone. He and Billy Donovan had grown up on the amateur circuit playing tennis, and they were really good friends. And comes the Memphis Racket Club, takes Billy out. Next thing you know, and Billy. Let's say this, absolutely loved Memphis, right? And he was willing to put his money where his ideas, where his mouth was, and made the Showboats one of the classiest, best run organizations in the entire USFL.
I would say this about Billy Donovan, if you ever knew him, everything that he approached was always at a major league first class level.
Right.
There was no NFL team that was traveling better than the Memphis Showboats. They're staying in better places or better run. He immediately goes out and gets the assistant commissioner of the USFL to be his general manager because Steve Earhart was not part of the original Showboats.
Steve comes on in the summer of 84, right? And Steve tells this great story that I share in the book. Billy strong arms him. Gets him down to the farm in Mississippi, puts him on a boat, and says, we're not getting off this boat till you take this job. Now, you got to remember, Dave, Steve had offers 3 NFL teams, 5 other USFL teams. Like, this was the most wanted general manager in the game, not just the USFL, all of professional football. And he comes in and puts together a roster. All right, here's the key. When the Showboats are done in 85, 5 years later, 20 of the 40-man roster are still in the NFL.
Wow.
So our 1 deep is as good as any NFL roster. And Steve will tell you in a heartbeat. 2 deep gets a little edgy, but give me another year. What if the Showboats stick to the plan to play in the spring? David Dixon's plan was to play in the spring. That was the game. Build it up 4, 5, 6, 7 years. Then force an AFL merger. if you give Earhart 1 or 2 more years, you give him another spring, we're USFL champions, without a shadow of a doubt.
I'm with you. It was an interesting battle right from the beginning. They got Walter Lewis. Part of that was because of Logan Young, the Alabama guy. Here comes Mike Kelly, who had played for Pepper Rogers at Georgia Tech. And, boy, the promotional marketing people were going nuts because they were selling Walter Lewis because he had so much success at Alabama. Once you started to see them even in practice, you knew in a pro system, there's no doubt who the better quarterback was, Mike Kelly.
Well, I agree with you, but I think one thing we got to look at when we're looking at Walter Lewis, what if Walter Lewis was playing today? The Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes model of what we expect out of a pro quarterback. Right, you got to remember in the 80s, Mike Kelly fits that drop back guy, 6'3", 210, 215.
Really good athlete.
And throwing bullets, right? He's throwing dimes all over the place. And that's the quarterback that in the 80s, I'm a big Dan Marino guy. Like, I wanted to see somebody drop back and just deliver that ball on a dime 50 yards down the field. But I'm not going to give away the name of the player that I interviewed on this, but he said, if Walter Lewis had more reps and someone had spent a little bit more time with him in 85, you would have seen an earlier Mahomes or Lamar Jackson. Just didn't get the reps because what offenses were built around was the drop back quarterback. What Walter did at Alabama, that's the college game.
Right.
And in fact, if you notice, why did Doug Williams leave the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? He took them all the way to the NFC Championship game, but was paid as the 28th best quarterback in the NFL. I forget the number. But there were second-string guys in the NFL because in the 80s, the black quarterback wasn't in. So he goes to Oklahoma, plays with the Outlaws.
Right.
Check in the USFL the number of black quarterbacks that gave up their NFL draft slot and played in the USFL because they were given an opportunity.
And given more money.
Exactly. Now, here's the one. I think, Dave, if you look at 84, when Walter Lewis and Steve Young match up out in L.A., Walter has a better game. Walter's stats, when they're out in the Coliseum, point blank outdo Steve Young, who is playing quarterback with the black aesthetic, right?
Right.
Who runs, moves out of the pocket.
Yeah.
And so it's an interesting conversation. But remember, we're talking about the 80s, right? And Steve Young changes those dynamics. And by today, I would have to agree that I think if we're playing today, we'd see something different. Now, I've had a lot of people posting, because I post a lot of pictures on my socials, that Mike Kelly was the dude. He was the man. He was the best choice.
Well, he was in practice much more accurate than Walter.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the bottom line.
Absolutely, right?
Because I can tell you right now, Pepper Rogers was playing anybody who was the better player.
Right.
There was no color involved in the eyesight of Pepper Rogers. Absolutely. I promise you, 100%.
So tell me about Pepper Ball, because you're right there. You're doing the pregame, the postgame. You've got better insight into Pepper than my little research.
Well,
Dave, you got to tell us about Pepper.
There's two guys that were the easiest interviews in the history of being a broadcaster. All you had to do was ask one question and it was over. That was Pepper Rogers, who was a character in his own right. And sometimes, I hate to say this, because people don't realize how smart Pepper Rogers was. He was an Air Force pilot, a fighter pilot. So brave and really smart. He could beat anybody in chess. He chose to be this sort of buffoonish guy. I have no idea. He liked playing that character, whatever it was. He was sort of a comedian too. And all I had to do was ask one question. He took it over. I might have to interject every once in a while to change him to some different area, but and the same thing with John Calipari. You don't interview them. You kind of steer them. Right.
You want to make sure they're staying between the lines, where you're headed with it.
Exactly.
What about Pepper Ball? What about when he puts, after Mike Kelly in 85 wins the job, and he puts Walter Lewis and Mike Kelly in the backfield with Big Sid. Yeah. And you're talking about, well, who do you stop? Who's doing that in the 80s? Mm-hmm. Anybody?
No.
And
no, he was brilliant. And he had Greg Mosier was a possession receiver.
Mm-hmm.
He had that great little returner who was a little guy but could really catch the ball too, Gizmo Williams, who was tiny. We had some characters.
What
Don't
about
forget
Derek Crawford. Did you bring up Derek Crawford?
I forgot DC.
East High School.
Oh, yeah, he was the number one receiver.
Absolutely.
I mean, he was great. And then on the other side, you had great player, like you had an assassin in Barney Bussey in the defensive backfield, and then you had one of the greatest football players to ever grace any football field, pro, college, NFL, USFL, and that was Reggie White.
Right. Now, did you have your socks? Did you have the sock exchange at the boat? You had it? You didn't have any socks?
Well, I'm sure I got some, but you know who did that? Mike Fleming did that, who was writing at the time for the Commercial Appeal, and he asked Reggie something about apparel or something, and he goes, well, the guy at I don't want to say the name of the place, the guy at an upscale clothing place, sold me on all these socks, so I bought 100 socks. So that's how that whole thing started.
Right. And I think Pepper's ability to navigate that. Here's a young kid out of UT, a lot of money in his pocket, and the upscale clothing store sells him 100 pairs of socks, and the team's already providing them, right?
Right.
But then to swing that. Now, remember, in the 1980s, you're up in New York with the Jets, all right? Klecko, Gastineau, right? Like, you've got the New York Sock Exchange.
Right.
And Memphis comes with a New York Sock Exchange. Big Sid, when I'm interviewing him, he says, would I come out the tunnel, and all these Memphis fans are waving socks? And the way this city embraced that moment, it shows us how much this city embraced Reggie White, and that's an incredible story. That's in there, and so that was one of my favorites.
I'm out of time, so just tell me, first of all, what is the name of the book?
All right, the book, The Memphis Showboats, the USFL Team, and the city's fight for major league status.
Love it. And you can get that where?
All right, Amazon. You can get it at Novel. You can get it at Oxbow. I've got my Facebook author page or Instagram. Follow me on socials. Got my own website, www.keithbwoodauthor.com. And if you get in now, I will send you a signed copy. Personally pay for shipping and handling for $30.
$30?
Right off the presses. Hot off the presses, Boat.
I love it. That is outstanding. I know I'm getting the book. I know I can't wait to live through the memories again. And I am curious. You wrote it on Larry. You wrote it on the Memphis Red Sox, which is an unreal story in its own right. And what was that, Martin Field?
Yeah, Martin Stadium down there in South Memphis, right by BTW High School.
What's the next book?
Now, this one, I'm from upstate New York, so a small industrial city, Schenectady, about 70,000 people, had a Negro League team. Well, Schenectady is a predominantly Italian and Polish immigrant town. 3% black population, but they had a thriving Negro League team. So we were talking earlier about, I'm back home, my book comes out on the Red Sox, my high school basketball coach pulls me aside, he says, Woody, you're doing the book. Dave, I felt like I was 16 again, that if I didn't do the book, I'm doing a suicide. I'm running sprints. So here I am. I'm probably 45, 50,000 words in. Another year or two, I'll probably have that one out.
You are prolific. That is terrific. And by the way, was a high school coach at Sheffield High School.
Sheffield and Millington.
And Millington. Okay,
right.
So you've been all over the place.
I have.
Can't wait to read the book. Appreciate you coming. I could talk to you all day. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
That is Keith Wood. And the book on the Showboat, you can go to Amazon or go to Novel. Give Virgos and all those people that own Novel, to save Novel, your money. We got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to Baton Rouge. We'll talk SEC, LSU, a whole bunch more. That comes your way with Ron Higgins in just a moment.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Come on and let the good times roll, y'all. Or as we say in Louisiana, laissez le bon temps rouler. The Orleans in the Ville with our made-from-scratch red beans, jambalaya, gumbo, po' boys, and made-fresh daily muffaladas. Right here in Collierville. Eat, drink, and stay for dessert like our homemade bread pudding with warm bourbon sauce. Monday through Friday, meat and two with homemade veggies. So good you'll bring your mom and them. Brunch every Saturday and Sunday. Right here, the Orleans in the Ville, 336 New Byhalia Road. Where great food, live music, and endless fun meet.
Introducing Home Care Plus, a new subscription service from Lowe's that helps make life easier by giving members a hand with home maintenance. Let Lowe's tackle the tasks you keep meaning to do, like electric dryer vent cleaning, replacing hard-to-reach light bulbs, and more. Subscribe to Home Care Plus for just $99 a year and consider your to-do list done. Members get more at Lowe's. Available in select zip codes only. Cancel anytime. Non-refundable fee. Product purchase required. Terms and service restrictions apply. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
A long life is wonderful, but it comes with changes as you age. So when you're ready to change your home, Town Village Audubon Park is the perfect choice. Incredible location, amazing amenities, including a pool, all-inclusive dining, and on-site medical care so you can age in place. Monthly rental with no buy-in lets you make current choices. Apartments include full kitchen, washer and dryer, bi-weekly housekeeping, and all basic utilities. Landscape courtyards make it easy to get sunshine and fresh air. Gated parking keeps you ready to go. And the Town Village Dog Park keeps your fur baby close by your side. Hi, I'm Max. My wife Jean and I moved into Town Village Audubon Park 18 months ago. It's the best decision we ever made. We have made friends here and take part in lots of social activities. It's a comfortable life. So if you're thinking of making a change, come see me and Town Village Audubon Park. I think you'll like it as much as we do. And look, new friends.
The 2025 Range Rover Sport sits right at the heart of the Land Rover lineup, offering a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility. Smaller and more agile than a full-size Range Rover, it's a great option for everyone who wants luxury and practicality. Every model comes with 8-speed automatic transmission and all-wheel drive standard. Whether you navigate city streets or tackle rough terrain, Range Rover Sport has you covered. Every drive is powerful and breathtaking. The 2025 Range Rover Sport is the epitome of sporting luxury. Test drive one at Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome back in, cruising through our Tuesday. Let's head to Baton Rouge and our friend Ron Higgins, who, by the way, had picked Scotty Scheffler. You were only one shot off. You were only one little half roll on 17 from at least a playoff with our good friend Rory McIlroy. Not a bad pick, though. Scheffler showed how tough he was. No bogeys on the entire weekend.
Yeah, that's hard to do. He got had one bad round, but anytime that you go into Sunday, and Scotty Scheffler's like 5 down around there, you always feel good. Like, okay, he's got his shot. He gave it a run, but congrats to McIlroy. He held on, man. He did. That's that's probably the hardest tournaments in the world to win, much less twice in a row.
Yeah, that's exact. McIlroy said, I thought the first one last year was hard because it was the Grand Slam and all the pressure of that. He goes, now I realize it's just hard to win the Masters.
Yeah, I mean, they always say it doesn't start until the back nine of the last day, and I mean, really, it doesn't. I mean, that's when it starts because everything's you got a bunch of. I mean, very rare that you have huge leads going to the back nine. It's usually pretty tight with 3 or 4 people, and it's like. That's what makes it one of the best tournaments in the world. It really does.
I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say within the next 10 years, you are going to have a guy that you know that will win at Augusta because he is such a great putter. I actually thought he was in position to do it this year. Sam Burns, the LSUer, did not have a good Sunday, but he, because of his prowess as a putter, is going to win that major, I think, one day.
Yeah, I think so, too. I mean, he's just even in a bad round, he doesn't really get rattled. He just has a really good golf demeanor, pure swing, even-headed. And he was in until the final day, and he came out the last day, and I think he birdied the first hole, then a couple of bogeys, and he just never kind of got back in at that point. He was, I think he finished 7 or 8 under, which is that course is a hell of a score. But yeah, I think one day he'll win one. He's still young, good guy, really good guy.
I got to ask you a little bit about your moonlighting career because I understand you're doing another movie. This one is with Viola Davis. Did you get to really meet her? And what are you doing in this particular movie?
In this movie, I'm a lawyer at a banquet where she's getting an award, and she's like this. Her role is an advocate. She's like an advocate type attorney who takes on causes. And she apparently got fired from her firm, but then she was given some kind of award, humanitarian award. And so her scene, which we filmed all day, by the way, one scene for like 9 hours.
Wow.
She receives an award and she gives a speech, and she's kind of drunk when she's giving her speech, and she says some off-color stuff. I mean, she was great, but when you film it all day and you got a director who keeps demanding takes, and you got you different camera angles and stuff, you expect her to crack one time. She never once flubbed the line. It was amazing.
Wow.
But I'm telling you, it's great. I was thinking how much since I started doing this about 4 or 5 years ago, I worked with some really unbelievable actors. Noel Wiley, I worked with a TV series with him.
Did you do The Pit with him?
I didn't do The Pit. I'd love to do The Pit. He had a series called Leverage Redemption, and I did a bunch of those. And in fact, it was funny. When they filmed this in New Orleans, this scene with Viola Davis, it's like this empty bank building in the French Quarter, or near the French Quarter. It's a huge lobby. It's beautiful. And I walked in there, and it's where I also filmed Leverage Redemption with Noel Wiley one time when I was getting robbed at an art auction. Zac Efron, Jeremy Allen White, Mara Tierney, Harry Hamlin.
Wow.
And Catherine Zeta-Jones. It's been fun.
We should point out your new moonlighting thing is you are an extra. Have you ever had a line in a movie yet?
Not yet, but it's almost every movie, every show I've been in, I show up in a scene, and you can just clearly see me.
Cool.
And sometimes the director. Sometimes your role is like director pick. Director picks a certain guy for a certain background actor, which I got picked for the Zac Efron movie, the Iron Claw wrestling movie.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was the TV producer of their wrestling show, and I was filmed the scene with the dad in the office, and also a funeral scene where you can clearly see me. But it's just fascinating. I find it's fun to do. It's fun to watch the process. It's fun to watch when things don't go right.
Yeah.
With the surroundings around you. But it's been a hoot. I'm gonna keep doing it as long as I can. I got an overnight shoot Wednesday on Bourbon Street. Bourbon Street Revelers type deal. So Paramount series is. It's unnamed. They haven't given us a name to the series, but it'll be fun. I filmed some in Baton Rouge. Film a lot in New Orleans.
They use the old airport terminal as a studio, right?
Yeah, they've used that twice. I've done 2 shows there. The last one I did was called Carry On. There's two ones ago. Carry On, about a guy who tries to carry a bomb on a plane. That was a Netflix movie. It turned out pretty good. I mean. Some of these movies I'm in, I'm like, I'll start watching them. Like, man, this wasn't very good. But a lot of them are. That was one of them. Carry On was really good.
Well, sometimes nonfiction is stranger than what you might get from Hollywood, including Will Wade returning to LSU, fired for paying players. Now it's legal. They bring him back, and it's like All in the Memphis Family. Rick Stansbury's going to be on that staff. So is Johnny Jones. I love this group.
And another Memphis connection. They just hired Damon Stoudemire as an assistant.
I did not know that.
Yep.
Wow. So Stoudemire was fired from Georgia Tech?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't realize that either.
So he's got 3 head coaches on the staff besides him. And he's the only guy that as a new LSU administration, they knew the only guy that could probably really draw NIL investors and also a fan base who loved him when he got fired. They loved the guy. And aside from what everybody thinks about Will Wade, yes, he cheated. He sure did. As a person, he's a really good guy, and everybody who deals with him will tell you that. I'll say, people say, describe Will Wade to me. I say he's a great human being who was a bad cheater. But now it's legal to buy people, so he bought really good talent, and they had really good teams when he was here. So he's back. But I told somebody, this is the most LSU thing ever. I said, the guy that LSU fired for cheating and recruiting, they rehire him, and then he hires the head coach that LSU fired that led to Will Wade getting the job the first time.
Yeah, well, let's not forget, Johnny was a great player at LSU.
Yeah, John was a great player, yeah.
In the era when Sean Toohey was the assist leader at Ole Miss.
Yeah, and also there was this, Eric Musselman was an assistant here under Johnny Jones for 1 year before he moved on different places. So, everybody's excited about men's basketball. Well, they were awful this year. They've been awful the past few years. The guy they had was Matt McMahon, was Ja Morant's college coach. Seemed to me more like a mid-major coach, probably. He just never recruited great, and obviously he was put in a hole when he got here, but he had no team because when Will left, everybody transferred.
Right.
But he was in the year 4, and they couldn't win games, especially in the SEC. So
this group with Will and with Rick Stansbury, forgetting about Jones and Stoudemire, those two guys, Wade and Stansbury, they know how to get players. They know how to find players. Stansbury is great at identifying players. I mean, I'd be shocked if you guys are not good next year. Well,
yeah, I think they can turn around pretty quick. And again, the only guy who can spark this type of enthusiasm and NIL money from people want to give was Will. And they were like, if we don't get him, we're just going to rob McMahon for another year because we know there's nobody out there that we think is worth the money to go get just to turn it around. So, yeah, that was it.
And then you just got to get the chicken man, Raising Cane's guy, to give you more money for players, and you'll all be set. That's outstanding.
It's like tip money for him.
Yeah. Exactly. Ron Higgins, as always, we appreciate you. Continue. I know you got that new movie you're doing. Be safe, and we'll talk next Thursday.
All right, we'll see you.
Tuesday, excuse me. Next Tuesday. That's our guy, Ron Higgins, on the SEC and a whole lot more. He's brought to you by Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. Ken knows it's a big decision you're making. You're building that dream home. You've had land for years. You're ready to pull the trigger. Maybe you're ready to pull a trigger and you've got a concept of a dream home, but you don't have the land. Well, Ken Garland Custom Home Builders can absolutely provide that land. They'll help you find land for whatever you might have in mind, or they know how to utilize that land that you might have. Maybe it's you don't want to leave where you are, but you want modern amenities. There's nobody that can do renovation with innovation better than Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. Let's face it. We're talking 80 years in the business, 3 generations of seeing details and of seeing the big picture all at the same time. That's what great builders do. This group, 3 generations, they're great builders. Go to their website, kengarland.com. You'll see what I'm talking about. If you're building or renovating, only one place to go, Ken Garland. We pause for a second. We'll head to South Haven. Our good friend, that's Jason Munz. On the Tigers and more. He comes your way in just a minute.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Do you want a greener, more weed-free lawn? And if you're like me, you can't stand the sight of dandelions, clover, or especially crabgrass. Hi, I'm Brandon Hawley, president of Lawn Solutions. We are your locally owned and operated weed control and fertilization company. We are also experts in disease and insect control on your lawn and landscape. Our uniformed technicians are full-time, year-round licensed and certified by the state of Tennessee. Lawn Solutions' personalized service is far more superior to that of national companies that promise but simply cannot deliver. We return phone calls, we keep appointments, and we want your business. What we will not do is bother you with endless phone calls or junk mail. Lawn Solutions will not sell you something your lawn doesn't need. If you're looking for a local lawn care company to kill your weeds and feed your grass, then Lawn Solutions is the finest. Call us at 867-5626. That's 867-5626. Or go online at lawnsolutionsinc.net. From our family to yours, we want to thank you for your business.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right and naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about anything, from the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys. Tito's is known for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits to serve its communities and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's. Distilled and bottled by 5th Generation Incorporated, Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume. Savor responsibly.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We go across the border. Our good friend from the Commercial Appeal, nobody writes Tiger basketball like Jason Munz, joins us now. So there's no portal news. Is no news good news? Is that bad news? I see PJ signed with A&M. Friesen signed with the Wichita State Shockers, which, sorry to be punny, but was shocking to me. What does that mean? Good morning.
Morning. Yeah, it's it is a little it's something that, you know, a few weeks ago, all we heard, there was like sort of a big media tour by the University of Memphis, by Penny and athletic director Ed Scott, and you know, a lot of what was talked about was how the men's basketball program was going to have to act with much more of a sense of urgency, and especially when it comes to getting players. And here we are, and Memphis has 4 players that we know of for sure are going to be on the roster next season, and 0 of those are from the transfer portal. Meanwhile, you've got, as you mentioned, Wichita State. You've got lots and lots of other teams. South Florida is out there getting players out of the transfer portal left and right. Iowa State, who you faced in the season opener, Louisville, who you face next season, they're running they're running their tally up, and Memphis has not done it. So I think it is premature to panic or get like super, triggered by the fact that Memphis only has 4 players on it. If the season started tomorrow, there'd be 4 players on the roster. I think it's a little bit premature to get sped up by that, but it is a little interesting because we are now into April 14th, and everybody around you is most everybody around you is out here getting players, and you're not. But that doesn't necessarily mean that wheels aren't in motion. They are.
Does that mean Rowan Brambow becomes the next big target? Or the latest one was DJ Wagner, the former Tiger DeJuan Wagner's son, the former Tiger coach and Louisville great, Milt Wagner's grandson. Is there any hope in that regard, he had a bad year at Arkansas last year.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think there was a time where certainly DJ Wagner looked like he was, depending on who you talk to, like there seemed to be some pretty real legs to the fact that Memphis was in a good spot with DJ Wagner, but that has since faded.
What do you think happened there? Why do you think that faded?
I think from what I've been told that DJ, it's nothing against Memphis. It's just that his desire to play closer to home. He's from Camden, New Jersey.
Right.
Is much higher.
So that would be Villanova, right?
That's who he's visiting right now. He was yesterday on a visit to Villanova. So,
or Temple.
Yeah, Temple. There's lots of schools up there in that area that he could go to and be close to home. And yeah, I had heard that from the very beginning. From the minute I heard his name, it was, he really would like to play close to home. But Memphis is making a compelling case. But as it turns out, based on what I know today, and again, these things can turn on a dime, so we'll see. But as of right now, DJ Wagner is on a visit at Villanova and wants to play closer to home. So, and then Rowan Brumbaugh is, he was always kind of a long shot. I think Memphis hiring Sean Mock, who had coached him the last 2 seasons at Tulane as an assistant. I think that, is there a chance that he may take a visit here or something like that? Maybe, but even that I'm a little bit skeptical of. He recently visited Cincinnati, and people are saying Indiana's in play for him. And I think Memphis is looking at some other guys as opposed to him.
Right. Who are they looking at?
Colby Garland is at the top of the list. He is visiting. He will take an official visit. His agent and his father told me last night that they will be taking an official visit to Memphis this week on Friday. He is actually on an official visit to Creighton right now, and he's got other schools that are after him, reportedly Auburn, and I think USC is in the mix. And so Memphis has definitely got some competition, but he, as we sit here today, unless something changes, is taking a visit. He's from Arkansas. Played at San Jose State last year, where he was 26th in the country in scoring, averaging 20.3 points per game, while also averaging almost 5 assists a game. So he's, he's a little undersized. He's listed at 6 foot even, but when you put up numbers like that in the Mountain West, the conference comparable to the American somewhat, that's going to be attractive. And he would be a senior he will be a senior next year. And
is he a better player than Rowan Brumbaugh?
They're different. I think they're not. Yeah, they're different. Even though they can both play the same positions, I think they're different players. Brumbaugh's a little bit bigger, and if you're just going by the numbers, he averaged more points than Brumbaugh did. And I think he averaged right around the same in assists per game. That is in the eye of the beholder. I tend to think that when you're thinking about it from a bang for your buck standpoint, then here's the thing: Rowan Brumbaugh is going to command a lot of money, and I think Colby Garland is too. But I think when you are breaking it down and you're looking at efficiency and those sorts of things,
better bang for your buck with Garland.
That's just off the top of my head something that I think they have to be considering. Yes.
Who else? Is there a big in there? You need a point guard. You need a big. Or do you think isn't Solo Jackson a point guard? Could he come in and play right away? And is Fred Smith the kind of a guy that you think will be a starter to begin with, or a rotation guy? Where do you put him in?
I'm not sure either one of those guys will be starters. I do think they will play meaningful minutes, although I don't, I think what remains to be seen will be how many meaningful minutes. I do think they will both play. They're both capable of playing good, significant minutes as true freshmen. Cello is, I don't think, as much of a point guard as he is like a combo guard.
Mm-hmm.
He's listed at 6'4". So I don't think that he is really a point guard. Fred Smith is listed at 6'7", and
he said he was on with Greg and Eli this morning, and he said some people list me at 6'9" or 6'10". I am 6'7". That's what he said. And he said if you're going to lean one way, I might be a little taller than 6'7".
Yeah, I was at his commitment ceremony last week at Briarcrest, and he's much closer to 6'7" than he is 6'9". And he's much more of a playmaker. He's not really a big. He's not, and maybe he'll play like a stretch 4 type role at this level, but I don't think like an undersized 4. But I don't think he. I'm not. I mean, it's hard to say. It's hard to project whether true freshmen will be starters or not, unless you're talking about Jalen Duren and those type of true freshmen where you just know right away, looking at them, that they're built differently. But no, they're looking at. I mean, Memphis has definitely got some bigs on their radar. One of them being Jamarian Davis Fleming, who was a freshman at Mississippi State this past season. I think he's listed at 6'10". He's out of Canton, Mississippi.
I remember him.
Yep. He played for Team THAD, Memphis-based AAU program, Team THAD, in high school, and is in the portal. And Memphis is pursuing him, and so yeah, there are guys out there that Memphis has identified, and they've got some traction with them. Jaden Reed is another one. He's another undersized point guard who played at Northwestern last year, but spent the 2 years before that at South Florida. So Penny's familiar with him. But yeah, they're getting.
How about overseas?
Yeah, I think that's they've dipped into that a couple times. Most recently last year with Simon Majok. I could see that happening. I could see them doing something like that again. And that's sort of the one of the unknowns about moving forward, is because there is this new staff, and you don't know like what type of relationships they have with like on the international scene, and so. But again, I think that is becoming much a more and more popular avenue for colleges, and I think Memphis had some success, a little bit of success with that with Simon Majok, and I could definitely see them doing that too.
I think we'll know more next. By the time I talk to you next Tuesday, will there be a portal acquisition?
Next Tuesday, I would think there would be multiple. By next Tuesday.
Okay. We'll have plenty to talk about then, my friend. Thank you much as always. We appreciate you.
Okay, thanks, Wolo.
That is Jason Munz from the Commercial Appeal. He's brought to you by Miramichi. The official name of Miramichi means Place of Happy Retreat. Well, they may have made that up, but it's the truth. That's what it is. It's gorgeous. They have all kinds of interesting things. The best practice facilities you ever saw. You can become a member. They offer a really good price, which includes tax and all unlimited rounds and range balls, and they got the best practice facilities of anybody. They also do this thing with rates and discounts depending on when you book and for what day you're booking. It's just really great. And then there's just the holes. Some people say number 10 is their favorite hole. I like number 10. I think 9 is gorgeous as well. How about number 8? 8 is a beautiful par 3 over a pond. 2 is a reachable par 5. I mean, every hole is beautiful. The toughest hole could be 16. You got to hit a long drive, and then you got a creek in front again. And by the way, it's to the left, a beautiful. The back 9, it's a walk in the woods with a stream meandering around. And it's just beautiful. And it's not that far away. It's not in Millington. It's in Woodstock, 25 minutes from my driveway. Go, tell them we sent you. You'll love the total golf experience, including the deck between 9 and 18 and the beautiful clubhouse with the great food. It's the total experience at Miramichi. We got a total big show for you tomorrow, including Dennis Philippi, Joe Dank, and golf picks. Ooh. First pick always does great at the Masters, right? And I got to give a lot of credit to Greg Hines, who won, because he could have taken Scotty Scheffler. He took Rory McIlroy. So he's the big winner. We'll give you the update on that all tomorrow. Johnny Radio is next. Have a great day, everybody.